Yes, Pumpkin.
The kitty was on that.
Oh, the kitty was on something. Yeah. Well, good morning. Happy Thursday. Yes, it's Thursday.
I just want to do this because I am in love with these sleeves. Look at that.
Okay, out
It's
the way.
very Stevie Nicks.
Yeah, it's very 70s.
I like it. And it feels good. It's like super silky. Feels
Silky
nice.
smooth.
Silky smooth. Feel it.
Oh, it is silky smooth. Yes, it's nice.
Good morning, Starlights. How are you? Oh my gosh, Thursday. Give me that blouse. I know, right? Isn't it beautiful? It's really pretty. Look at that. Look at this.
Pretty.
I like it. Oh my gosh. Okay, take it away, Doogie.
All right. So, good morning. So if you see in our comments here, what steals your power and how to get it back? And the first question is well, I may be training and sort of getting you aware at the same time. How do you know that your power is stolen? How do you know? Well, the first thing is you'll start saying something like, oh, I've lost my power. And is that true? So now starting to dive into some ways that you could do that. The first thing is a question. See, the thing is that if you have the power to ask whether or not your power is stolen, you're already taking your power back. And the only way you could think you didn't have your power is to tell a story that you don't have the power, right? So we're looking at three things, like the three fundamentals that we teach, and it's in the Strategic Emotional Mastery package, is the idea that there are three pillars to transformation. Now, the idea of power, that would be the first pillar, your state, right? So what emotional state is power for you? Is it confidence? Is it love? Is it gratitude? And these are all power states. So if you look at it, there are a few people, Tony Robbins and some others who are, David Bayer, I forget the guy who they got this from, but he basically shared that we're really in two different states. We're either in a beautiful state, which would be a powerful state, or a state of suffering, and that would be the opposite, right? So that would be fear, anger, frustration, all of that. So the idea of power, whatever your powerful state is, or states, your power cocktail, would be the first pillar of transformation. And I don't know if you want to add anything on the idea that power is a state.
Well, I think it's, for me, the two states that constantly rob my power feel like organic things that I really have little no control over. Anxiety is a state that I feel on a regular basis, and depression is a state that I feel on a regular basis, and it kind of comes out of left field or nowhere. And so I know that as soon as I have one of those two things creep up into my life, automatically then my power seems to go away. Either I'm anxious and I'm like worried about out of nowhere, like what's going to be happening, or I just feel this like little gray cloud that's following me around. And so I have to work, and especially around, ladies, the time of my period comes along, and then that takes me out of my normal state, and I feel like I'm so I could eat, it's my 600-pound life. I just want to eat everything. I feel angry. And so I think it's easy to manage your state for the most part when you don't have these extra added organic kind of state disruptors.
Sure.
That come into your life. And so for me, it really is a spiritual practice. Like I say, I believe everything is a spiritual practice to manage my state, especially during those two anxious and depressed times when they come and visit.
And it
takes my power, sucks me.
Right, which is why it's so important that we get into habits of powerfully living, whatever those habits are. So Jennifer shared serenity is power. Beautiful, right? So how do we habituate these states, these power states, so that when those other things start coming in, the organic or just stuff coming in from the outside world out of left field, that we are habitually getting ourselves back into a power state, as opposed to just being okay when it happens and not really sure, what it is, or even knowing what it is, right? So that's the second pillar is strategy, right? What strategically can you do to continually put yourself into whatever power states are appropriate? And that's the thing, is that what we weren't taught growing up is like to choose states appropriately. Like, it's not like we were taught, okay, you're going to school, so you want to be in a state of curiosity and a state of learning and a state of openness and all that. We were taught basically go to school, sit down and shut up. And that is not an effective learning state. That's partially what the teachers think is a good strategy for you to sit down and shut up, but it's not really the best learning state. So we were never taught how to do that, or, hey, we're going out on a date or a job interview or into a game or whatever we're looking at. We were never said, okay, what would be the best states to do that, right? And then what we teach is how to manifest them, how to habituate getting into those states appropriately. Oops. Any thoughts on that while we're...
Well, so like, what is that? I know for me, when I hear about like, your state, I'm like, what the hell is, like, what are you talking about? Right? Like, what is that? And it's really you're mastering your emotions,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like, so there's either like, I feel like one or two people kind of in the world, people that their emotions is not a safe place for them to be. They feel overtaken by their emotions. They feel like their emotions run them. So they just go by every whim. They let their emotions lead the way. If they feel like doing something, they do it. If they don't, they don't. Their emotions are like the boss of them. And then there's other people that have no emotion at all and just cut off from their emotion, period, and just put the blinders on and just do what we need to do. But there's like, that's very black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people that I serve live in this black and white, all or nothing kind of world. There is like this middle way. It's learning how to use your emotion as a barometer sometimes and as a compass to see if you're on the right track, but also it's learning how to manage your mind so your mind can control your emotions. And that is really what we're talking about. And the strategy is to allow your mind to then control your emotions so your emotions aren't running you ragged. Like when the anxiety comes, I have two choices. I can totally succumb to it and say, oh, I'm anxious, and just let it rule my world. Or I can not shut off totally and be a robot in my life. I have no feeling. But there's this middle way, which is, my anxiety is here. How can it's not really going anywhere, but how can I manage my emotions? How can I cultivate more peace, more serenity, like Jen said? When depression comes, how can I consciously cultivate it? How can I cultivate more gratitude? And so I remember one time in particular, when my depression comes, sometimes it comes really strong and just comes like seemingly out of left field. And one particular day, and we're a mom to Ellie, and my goal is to like be a positive influence on her and help let her see me, doing well and succeeding and know what's possible. But my other part of my goal for her is to see us struggling and how we overcome things and just be real, right? And allow her to have the flexibility to understand that everything is possible and it's okay to have anything happening within you, and not shut her down, or that don't feel that way or don't think that way. Some of you were told that, stop feeling that way, or you're too sensitive or whatever. And that's not how we roll. One day my depression came, and it came on like a Mack truck, and it just, oh my God. And for this particular time, crying was a part of it. Not always the case, but I just started crying. And I just remember I was standing in the kitchen looking in the refrigerator for, just nothing. And all of a sudden it just came over me, and I started just crying really, really hard. And I sat down on the middle of the floor and just was like, and Ellie was watching TV. And I had a split second. I was like, oh, don't let her see me, cry like this. Don't let her see me. And then I thought, why? So she came over and she said, she sat on the floor with me, and she said, what's wrong, Mommy? And I said, I'm just feeling really sad. And she said, you're really sad? And I said, yeah, I'm just feeling really sad. And she took my hand. She said, do you want to draw a picture? And I said, you know what? Yes, I do want to draw a picture, because that's a way for me to consciously change my state.
That's a strategy
to change my state, and not say, I don't feel like doing anything. That's true. When you're depressed like that, you don't feel like doing anything, but part of mastering your emotions and learning how to really maintain your power and not be led astray or let your feelings lead you around like a dog, is to get into this strategy. So I sat down with her, we painted this beautiful picture. It was cathartic. I felt a lot better afterwards. Not that I'm delusional, my depression totally disappeared, but it transformed. It transformed into a beautiful moment. It transformed into this artwork that I have in my house. So what strategies do you use when you're feeling that way? It's hard when you don't feel like, that's the rub, right?
That's why you do the work. And that's why you do the work when you're kind of not so locked into it. When you're not in that depression, if you're consistently, that's the spiritual practice. If you're consistently managing your emotions, if you're consistently aware of what they are, or, and that's the other thing is sometimes we could just lead a life of, almost stoic in that it's just meh, right? And that for some people is a strategy because I don't want to get too high because I get too low, right? And this way, meh is better than the, oh my God, right? And that might be an other than conscious strategy. So if you want to change your life, if you want to transform your life, the first thing you got to do is start transforming your emotions, because that is the fuel that is going to drive you to take on other challenges, to expose yourself, to be open, to put yourself in environments. And if you go into an environment, like as an example, like I wrote this book about the heart of networking. And one of the things we talk about in the beginning of it is, what do you want to experience at the networking event? So, I want to meet new people. I want to connect. I want to create a relationship such that we can grow as business associates. Well, then you go, if that's what you want, what state or states, and this is like setting your intention, what state or states are going to be most appropriate? So you go, being curious about someone, being confident in my ability. So when you show up, you're showing up vibrating at that frequency. You're showing up creating an openness, creating a space. Because I'm sure you've met people who are like Pigpen. Have you ever met that? Or they just have negative energy swirling around them, right? And then they're like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. And you're like, oh, God, I gotta get out of here, because that is like an energy vampire. It will suck the energy out of you.
They actually did research where they did this study where they put people in an airport, and they had everybody was just standing there, whatever, waiting for the flight. It wasn't delayed or anything at all. And they put a plant in the line. And so he would come up and start standing there. And then there's one guy in a group of 20 people, and he would start going, let's just start doing that, right? So looking at his watch, oh man. And then all of a sudden, 12 of the 20 people were like, oh yeah, this does suck, So that's another thing too. And, when anxiety comes in, that's one thing with the depression, when anxiety comes in, that massive energy, again, for me, when I want to change my emotions and I'm having all that fear come up or just the worry or whatever it is, I don't know about you, but sitting down and meditating ain't going to do it, because it almost exacerbates it. I go, I can't meditate. I'm not meditating. I can't quite, I don't know what's going on. So I do physical activity to work through my anxiety.
Pay shared, move a muscle, change a thought.
Yeah, right.
That's
so
big part of state management.
Body, getting out, dancing, riding a bike, jumping up and down. We have a big trampoline out back, just anything to kind of move that anxiety around, because it's trapped energy. It's like pent up energy that needs to escape. Which,
by the way, is important that we are exercising just as a guideline, as a rule, that we're moving our body as a regular basis. We get into the habit of some sort of thing, because that's the other thing. If we created a life of sedentariness where we're not moving, and it's a struggle to even get up and walk and move, that is going to radically impact your habitual emotions, your habitual state. But if you start breaking up your energy, you start moving and raising just the energy in your body, it's going to be a lot easier to lift it to a higher level, because you've got this energy already moving, if that makes sense, right? It's very important that you're exercising, and it's a big part of being human, right? I mean, I think that one of the interesting things to look back is many years ago, moons ago, we had to hunt and gather and build and clean, and we didn't have dishwashers or laundry machines, so just daily living required activity, required energy, which kept us able to manage our state pretty effectively. And that's why we were able to go through such hard times. It was by design. Then one of the challenges we're having, and why people are getting, not to get all soapboxy here, but we're getting so, recent studies have been done about happiness. And the studies show that now, in today's age, people are less happy than they were during the Great Depression. As an overall, as a guideline. Now, why is that? Well, there's a lot of reasons. One of them might be that we're so sedentary that we're just sitting looking at crap, and then it makes us get pissed off, or we're watching the news, or we're scrolling at Facebook and so F this guy, screw that guy, and all this, and something to
That's a really good point too.
Against something, whatever it is, occupy something.
I have clients that say that their anxiety increases when they are on social media, and or they get like, they're in business and they get like this comparisonitis. And so I do this thing on a regular basis where sometimes I get really inspired by people and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to follow this person or whatever. But so here's my rule of thumb. And when I'm scrolling, because I have anxiety and I have depression and I have to guard my mind, it's my responsibility to know that I wrestle with these two very real things. So it's very important for me to take control of that and not be in a victim mindset and say, oh, you're making me anxious, or oh, this situation, or oh God, this is, but so I can manage my anxiety and I can manage my depression, but that's a decision that I make. And part of that is social media. I can just be scrolling through there and all of a sudden my anxiety will just whoom. And then I have to question it and get curious and say, what's going on right now? Oh, you're starting to compare yourself to this person. You're starting to think, oh, you should be further along. Oh, you're starting to freak out or stress out about this or this or this, or oh, you don't like this person, and every time they talk, you go, oh God, what are they? But you're still following them. Like, what are you doing? So I do this little integrity cleanse. Martha Beck kind of has this book she's writing now, and it's a really great process. Like, I have to check it. Am I in alignment? And if it's not, unfollow, unfriend. And just move on. And because life is too long to be following people that create or bring that up in you. If it's not inspiring, educational, entertaining, or uplifting, I don't really want a part of it. And that's really my filter: educational, inspiring, uplifting, or entertaining, educational, right? Like, that's how I know, okay, that's the right thing for me. And so maybe you're the same. Maybe you have to guard yourself too.
Maybe there's a challenge for you today, is while you're scrolling, if you see a post that doesn't make you feel good, you go, unfollow. You don't have to defriend anybody necessarily if you're, that's not
your style at all.
No, actually, I know, but I have to now. I didn't have to, not because of anyone said anything, but like I hit the max, and I was out to dinner the other night, and I was like with 8 people. It was like 10 people, and we all like, oh, let's all follow each, so we could connect. Or we put together a private group and stuff for the dinner, and I'm like, oh crap, I can't accept anybody else now. So I had to go back and do that.
You know what the other thing is too, is that it's not just on your Facebook and your social media. There are people in your life as well that create that feeling for you. It's like when they call, you have a punch in your stomach and your state changes, or your emotions get the best of you. When you see their face coming, you start to do whatever. And so that's a decision that you make too, is that what are the people in your life? There's things that steal your power for sure, people, places, and things. And it's your responsibility and my responsibility. If we are especially susceptible, we're highly sensitive people, we wrestle with these other organic situations, anxiety, depression. It's our job to constantly be weeding in our own lives, be farming in our own lives, the people, places, and things that steal our power or that we allow to take our power from us. So even simple things like a cleanse in your own home. One of the things where you walk around in your house this morning, let's say you got dressed this morning. You went into your closet. There were at least 4 opportunities for your power to be sucked from you, right? The thing that you wanted to put on this morning, and you're like, that doesn't fit me anymore. Shit, I'm not as thin as I want to be. Oh, you start already, you're shrinking down. You throw that stuff away, honey. Get in your closet, do a cleanse of everything that makes you feel less than, bad, inferior, or the someday, no day, no way clothes. Get rid of them, pull them all out and donate them, and let them be loving on it. Let them be gorgeous on somebody else, right? For you, it's like, what are the little, because it's not the big things that are stopping your power. It's the little things all day long that suck you dry. And so just that, the things, what are the things in your life? Do you have something in your life that you walk by every time, that toilet that runs, that you need to get fixed, that every time you walk by, damn it. Is it that ratty old thing, purse that you're carrying around, that every time you look in it, you're reminded that you're broke? Honey, go thrifting and get yourself a good bag. You can find them on consignment. What are the things, the little things that steal you? And then people. If it's social media people, it's time to do a cleanse. If it's your real life, it's time to do a cleanse. And things steal your power. Is it if you're having that, you don't know how to manage your state, right? Your emotions, and your strategy is not working, but your strategy is to go to the refrigerator and eat, or Oreos are your strategy. That's a thing that's stealing your power. So, actually on my site, on lovecoachheidi.com, there's a free whole booklet on how to overcome dysfunctional relationships with people, places, or things. We'll put the link up here. That's perfect for you to understand if you're in a dysfunctional relationship with a person, place, or a thing. And that's what's stealing your power. So take that free resource, download it. It's a quick read, and that'll be extremely helpful as a first step.
Beautiful. And Jen had a question about how it's almost like what I'm reading. I'm going to paraphrase. They're taking God out of it, that you connect your higher power. And we're by no means saying that. Going to your higher power, connecting to the higher power is the strategy. How you get there is being present, right? So taking the lack out when you put yourself, and you've got to co-create, right? This is how you connect, how you meet with God, is you get out of depression by changing whatever is going on so that you can turn and open your eyes to allow that to come in. How you're doing that, when you say you surrender, whatever your strategy to surrender is what we're talking about. What we're also talking about are the things that distract you from creating that experience.
So let me help too, because Jen said, it sounds like I'm in control of my anxiety and depression and God's out of it. But Jen, really my position is God's never not with me. So that's not something I have to all I have to do is remember. So whenever I'm having my anxiety or depression, I don't really have to call upon God. I have to remember that God's already within. We're already co-creating. So there's not really that happening, but when I'm doing art or I'm dancing, that is me and God, right? That is us together communing, getting out of my own mind, and your mind is your ego. So you're exactly right. My philosophy is, though, I don't need to call upon God. I need to unleash God, because God's already here. It's not something outside of myself that I have to acquire. It's something I have to remember I already possess. Okay.
Right. So it's representing.
It's representing myself to the God that already is we're co-creating. I don't know if that makes sense, but it does to me, and that's what helps me.
And in no way are we edging God out. Everything we're talking about is that presupposition that it's the universe, God is always there. It's the other stuff that's getting in the way. It's shedding the other things and consciously going to that environment.
Yeah, God's never not a part of anything. I forget God's there sometimes. I have to remind myself.
No,
do you want to say anything to your friends this morning?
Turkey, but I will try anything.
Oh, try anything. I like
You'll try anything.
Anything else?
I love you, everybody. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Yeah, did you sure?
Do you want to say any words of encouragement for Thursday? We were talking about
and just also
how to be happy. Do you have any?
If you be happy sometimes,
or how to be sad, or what happens when you're sad? Your feelings.
Sometimes if you hurt your feelings and somebody said a rude word, just don't play with them and say, I'm not going to play with you because you weren't my feelings, and I'm going to go play with somebody else.
I like that.
Wow, that's a boundaries. Beautiful.
And if you do a boundary, that means you are not going to play with the people who are not nice to you. And don't ever play with them if you don't want them.
If you don't want them to be mean, don't play with them because they're just going to be mean.
Don't play with them because they're going to be more rude. And one day, Goldstein always says, when I sat next to him in the circle, when we said our class Moody, our class, and it's time to sing our song, he always says, I don't want to sit next to him. Then he moves next to me, then moves back.
And so what did you say to him after that happened?
I said, Goldstein, that hurt my feelings. I don't like when you do that. And he said, well, and that was kind of rude. So if you have a boundary, just don't play with the people who are doing that. But if you don't know, then just tell the teacher.
Yeah. Is it okay to feel sad sometimes? What do you do when you feel sad?
Sometimes I just wish if I just go and play with somebody else and be free.
Yeah, that's right. You go and play
I love you.
play with somebody else and
Okay,
be free.
great job this morning, Ellie. Good advice.
I'm big and strong and beautiful. I want to tell the whole way wrong. Every day I love the ways indifferent. I'll part a swing and sing, but I'll return to slide. But no one turkey, but I'll try anything.
Oh, okay. Good job. You
That's
want to say
amazing.
subscribe and we'll see you tomorrow?
Subscribe to our video, click the subscribe button, and we love who you are, who you aren't, and who you are.
That's right. We love you. Who you aren't and who you are.
Mwah!
Bye, guys.
And you have to tune in next time to find out the third pillar.
We'll always show your love of you, and you can be the boss of yourself anytime.
Correct, Amundo.
Yeah, I'm gonna call you baby.